The following is a presentation of the Austin Reed Network, now streaming for free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. This is the Reed Report with Austin Reed.
Welcome to the Reed Report. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Austin Reed. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, even X at Austin Reed on air. Of course, the Reed Report airs exclusively on the Austin Reed Network on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. You can also see us on MyTV 53 in the Central California area and on KWVT Valley 17 in the Portland and Salem, Oregon area. So thank you so much for joining us. Super excited for my guest today via Zoom. I want to introduce my viewers to Dan. Dan, how do I say your last name?
Challenger.
Challenger. Okay, very good. Now, Dan is located in Northern California. Some people call it Northern California. Others call it Central California. Near Sacramento, we'll just say that. And Dan, you are a famous YouTuber, and we're going to get all into how that process even started. But I want to first play a quick video because we're going to start with a video that you posted just recently. You know, the holidays are coming up, and a lot of people suffer from depression, anxiety, and we don't know what each individual is going through. But you had just a really crazy thing happen to you, and let's just play the video and then we'll talk right after.
Good morning. Today, I'm going to share with you something so personal that I haven't even shared it with my family, not my wife, not my kid. They're going to hear it for the first time. It's the letter that I penned to them laying in a hospital bed after my heart attack when I didn't know if I was going to be there the next day. And I had this tremendous guilt. I blamed myself for being in that bed. It was my lifestyle, the excessive partying, working hard, total disregard for my own health, poor diet. I put myself in that position and the guilt was overwhelming. So I penned a letter explaining exactly what I was going to miss, what they meant to me, and it was a goodbye letter. And when I talk about demons, I'm talking about my lifestyle and that I use that to mask whatever my demons were. And the reason I'm bringing this out now is because we're heading into the holiday season, the highest rate of suicide, depression, anxiety. I will miss the daily conversations with Mom and the tender moments with Dad. I will miss holidays and barbecues with friends and family. I'll miss the morning kisses from the dogs and the nose bumping with the cats. I'll miss the updates on extended family chat, new pictures of my nieces or nephews. I'll miss the changing of the seasons and the smell of the morning air. I'll miss the first sip of beer, McDonald's fries, cheese pizza, and the magical taste of a good burger. I'll miss the daily walks and phone conversations with my friends. I'll miss my house and backyard. I'll miss crying at movies and binge listening to my favorite music. I'll miss dreaming of the future and what it will bring. I love my family more than anything else and have been blessed by the connection to each and every one of you.
So there you have it. Now, Dan, I want to talk a little bit about that letter for you and what reading it now in 2023 and being so vulnerable to your audience, what was that like?
Well, it was not my intent. I did not think that I was going to have that much difficulty reading it. It was 4 years ago. And just, the reason that I chose to share that now is I have this wonderful platform on YouTube and other social media, TikTok and Instagram, that has basically been blown up thanks to my dad and the popularity of my dad. So the way I look at it is, I try and give something back because of what was given to me. And last year, coming into the holidays is always the most depressing. You got not only seasonal affect disorder, but you have, loneliness. You have all sorts of, a rise in depression and anxiety. Suicide rates go up. And so I started last year. I posted a poem, saying, "Hey, let's get through this. The idea is let's get through the holiday season. Everything's going to be okay. You're not alone in your loneliness or your sadness or whatever feelings you're feeling, but it will pass. Let's get through it. If you need some help, get some help. Let's get through it." And I posted a poem last year, and this year I just decided I would write a suicide note. That's what originally I sat down to do, and say, instead of telling you why that I passed, the idea was to say what I'm going to miss after I, you know, and and I realized as I sat down to do it, I already have this letter. I already have my goodbye letter, because I suffered a heart attack 4 years ago, February 14th, 2019. Valentine's Day, I had my heart literally broken. And as I sat in the hospital bed waiting to determine whether I was going to need open heart surgery or whether they were going to be able to fix it with medication or a stent, I had to come to full face with my mortality. I had to accept the possibility I may not survive an open heart surgery if it goes that direction. And so, and I felt this incredible amount of guilt at 51 and having 3 kids, just basically one just in college and the rest on their way into college. And it was just a really crappy time to die. And I just carried a lot of guilt, and I penned a letter. And that's the letter that I penned that you just heard. And fast forward 4 years, instead of writing that suicide note to try and let people know, hey, you're going to get past this rough period, I just substituted the letter that I wrote, and hence it had kind of a greater effect, because it was obviously something that was written at a particular time that was really important to me. And then you could see as I was trying to read it, it took me back a little bit, and I had trouble getting through it that I did not anticipate. I hadn't thought about those feelings in a long time, and the way it turned out, it resonated with people, and I think it was a good thing to share. Very personal, but I think it did help people. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that, and that was kind of my way of giving back, like I do every year at this time. So that's how that happened.
Well, I related to it because I'm a father and I've got twin daughters. They're 7 years old, and I'll be honest, I'm not the healthiest person either. I have abused my body in the past, and like I said, I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, right? But to kind of witness that. And I'm in my mid to late 30s, we'll say, but you were 51, and so it made me think, oh my gosh, like when I'm your age, same thing. My daughters are gonna be that age,
Yeah.
and wow, like to realize, we could be gone, and all of those happy days, all of those sad days, just like that. I related to it. I really did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people did, and it's not just much being gone, but the fear of what's going to happen to the people I left behind. I'm going to miss. I'm 55 now. I've done a lot in my life. I mean, I don't have a lot more to prove. I don't have a lot more to accomplish. I may, I'm going to shoot for the stars, but, I lived a life already. And so my concern was more for the future. I had my parents there for me, and I needed them, from time to time. And it's amazing to have that. And I didn't want to, the future without me. I didn't want to see them have to struggle. Maybe they would have thrived. I don't know, but that's what was difficult for me. It wasn't about me at that time. It was about who I was leaving behind and what are the consequences of that on them and the rest of their lives. So yeah, it's a lot to absorb and think about while you're sitting in a hospital bed waiting to figure out whether I'm going in for open heart surgery. And I think that profound aspect of it is what resonated with people, and why they, felt that they connected to that in some way.
Yeah, and I've got a cystic fibrosis, so that was another thing where I know that feeling of sitting in the hospital and thinking, well, this could be it.
Yeah, And it's scary, and it's true for everybody. And the fragility of life is something that is real easy to overlook. When you're teenagers, you think you are invincible. And then, all of a sudden you're driving 40 miles an hour and you're in a car accident, and you realize, how fast things can end. You realize the forces that, our human body is no match for the forces of nature, or the forces of technology, or for certain viruses, or for, bad foods. We can eat a bad mushroom and gone. That's how things can happen. So I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy that people were able to, that I was able to read that letter for people instead of having somebody read it after I died. And I hope.
What are some of the comments that you've seen since posting this? And it's been blowing up on YouTube.
I mean, yeah, it's blowing up on both YouTube and TikTok, and there's thousands of comments, and they are deep. I mean, so many people. I've been there. I can relate. I was laying in that bed. I'm going to go hug my children right now. I'm going to go hug my husband. I'm going to go hug my wife. Thank you, for, making me think about my future. And hey, I'm not so, just like you said, I'm not so healthy. And the time to change is now, right? Not to wait till you get to the hospital bed and hope you luck out. And I'm going to change. I got lucky, right? I got lucky. I mean, there's so many things that could have happened that night. Like, I could have chosen not to go to the hospital. You don't know what a heart attack is. Yeah, I got bad indigestion, some pain. Had I waited another 2 hours, I mean, maybe I wouldn't be here. So it's a message to people. Enjoy every day, covet your loved ones, and don't take them for granted, because things, whether it's you or somebody else, things can change in an instant.
Amen. Amen. All right, we're going to switch gears now, because the biggest reason that you have this following is your 91-year-old father, and he is a hoot. He is, you both of you guys kind of, you both kind of remind me of how my dad was with me, and it's still. But you are being faced with something that I've never had. My dad recently passed, but mentally he was still, physically he was sick, mentally he was still there. So I want to now play just a couple quick videos from your YouTube channel in relation to your father. So let's play that real quick.
So today's video is an example of the most difficult moments of caregiving for me, other than if there's a fall or something physical.
Brother Bill.
Uncle Bill? Dad, Uncle Bill passed.
What?
He passed.
When?
A long time ago.
My brother Bill did?
Yeah, but you have memory loss. You're 91 years old. And Bill passed in his late 70s. You just don't remember how old you are.
Oh, okay.
When you live to be 91, Dad, you're going to outlive people. You've just lived a long time.
Okay, thank you.
Mom?
Yeah.
She's at her house. Mom lives in her own house, Dad. You divorced about 40 years ago.
Divorce?
You divorced a long, long time ago. You're 91 now. You live with me, Dad.
I'm 91?
You are 91.
How old does that make you?
55. You just have memory loss.
And it's crazy.
No, it's morning. You go up and down, Dad. Sometimes you remember, sometimes you don't. What do you want to do? You live here. Let me fill you in.
What?
I'll fill you in, okay?
Okay.
You live here.
Yeah, in this house.
Yep. With Danielle and me, and Andrew lives here. So you live with me, and you have a grandkid that lives here too.
Yeah, the what?
You have a grandson that lives here too.
Oh, okay.
Everything in this bathroom is yours. This is your bathroom. But before you brush your teeth, let's come and eat breakfast. That way you brush your teeth after breakfast.
Oh, you want to wash my teeth after breakfast?
Yeah, brush your teeth after breakfast.
All right, that's fine.
So there you have it. I mean, again, you're facing this every day with your father now. And what gave you the idea to take videos and just post them on social?
Well, that's a great question. And this whole he came to us during the time of COVID. It was during quarantine, and I was at home with my wife, and our son was here, and that was it. Our daughters were remote and going to school remote, and I started posting TikTok videos. Mostly for my writing. I wrote the letter. I also do poetry. And so for my writing and some little, couples stuff, I would, go out and play a little prank on my wife, like she's gardening, and I'll throw the dog's ball in there. So the dog runs through her pile of leaves and, get her reaction. I go, oh, my bad. Sorry. Little funny videos. And then my dad took a fall. He was living by himself. He took a fall. And it was time we had to take him into the house. And so when my dad moved in, he started appearing in the videos, because really the channel is about my life, right? That's what it is. No matter if I'm on vacation, you're going to get videos of me on vacation. If I'm at home, you're going to get videos of me at home. If my dad's with me, you're going to get videos of my dad. If he's not, you're going to get videos of my dog, whatever I'm doing. And so my dad moved in and became a bigger and bigger part of my life. Obviously, he needed, he needed the help. And so I posted of some videos of him, and at first not a lot happened. You just didn't change the trajectory of the channel or the views much. And then we had one particular day where it was right around Thanksgiving Day, right around this time of year, and I think I had some family over, and he found the car key, and he walked out to my car, and he was trying to drive away. Now, mind you, he hadn't driven in 4 years. And the last time he drove, it was with no license and no insurance. He stole his own car because we had taken away. He had spare keys. He found it and stole his own car, and he's driving around scared his entire family to death. He couldn't drive. You can't drive when you don't know where you are, and all you're looking is for signs, and you don't know, it's really dangerous. So he walked out, and this was kind of early on in my newfound career as a caregiver. And I was, I had learning pains, right? I did not know how to properly deal with someone with dementia. And I've dealt with this man my entire life. And we've always had a great, open, loud, boisterous relationship. And, words can fly, and I can give it to him and he can give it back. He even gives it back in that video. But it was contentious. I walk out there, Dad, what the hell are you doing? Where do you think you're going? I am just flat out frustrated, scared, worried, because he's about to drive off in a car. And I'm thinking, what do you, and then it kind of, he kind of gives it back. And there was some colorful language in there. I think I dropped an F-bomb. I think my dad dropped an F-bomb back in it, and that video went viral. And it did not go viral in a good way. I mean, I was getting ripped for the way that I responded to him. And, I'm new at this. I'm no expert. I'm just living my life, trying to take care of my dad. I've always interacted with him in a certain way. And that day was no different. And the comments were vicious, savage. People were attacking me, and my family came in, Danielle and my kid, take that down. People are this. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not taking that down. That's real life. That happened to me. I didn't do that for views or likes. That's my life right now. And it was not a perfect interaction for me, but there's got to be a lot of other people that are going through the same damn thing. And I just said, I'm not taking it down. I put on an explanation video, and a lot of people watched and listened, and then I just kept videoing. This is what my life is like. And slowly over time, people were able to see that, I'm not out there trying to be mean to my father. I'm trying to protect him in those moments where I'm less than quiet and patient with him. If your kid is getting ready to put their hand on a hot stove, you're not going to say, son, don't do that. You're going to say, hey, you're going to yell, and you're going to, don't move. And with your parents, it's the same visceral reaction. So I started posting more of our interactions, and not only did we start to gain followers, but, I'd got suggestions. I learned from posting, and I learned from other caregivers who post on here, and the following just grew and grew and grew and grew. But that's how it started. We just, because he moved in the house and he started appearing in videos, and then it always takes something, some odd thing to blow something up, use a couple of F-bombs, and then all of a sudden you got a viral video.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's so, isn't it interesting to see the change of the people that are now your fans?
Yeah, there was a big evolution of people that, switched from, criticizing me. A million people said, hey, I thought you were harsh, or my dad can't hear. So I talk loud, and I can't hear either. So I talk loud. And so sometimes it comes across as, bullying, or, boisterous, or, I'm going to shout you down. No, that's not at all, my technique, and my, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just loud. He can't hear. So over time, people came to see that. They were watching videos every day, and there's so many, I think so different of you now than I did when I first started watching. So, and that's people, they're learning the same way I learned. I had to learn how to deal with my dad. And I learned that initial video is not, and the way I react in that video, it's just not going to work. And, people praise me for my patience, right? You're so patient with him. Well, you'll learn that in reality, being patient is actually the fastest and easiest way to get through the situation, right? I've learned through trial and error that, trying to correct him, or talk over him, or convince him or reason with him, they don't reason. They don't apply logic the same way that somebody who's not sick would apply logic. So I learned that while it's admirable, it is really the easiest path. If you want to get through the day without having a heart attack, be patient, and then you start to learn, oh, that was an easier encounter, and then you start to learn that's easier, and it comes, you become that person, because that's the way you survive. And it's not really born of some unique quality that I have to be patient. It's born of survival. If I'm not patient, my life's going to be a lot harder. And that's, I don't really have said that in videos, but that's the reality. I've learned how to best deal with them, and it just so happens that patience is a quality that that helps you get through a moment with somebody who's suffering from dementia.
So
I don't know if I answered your question or went off on a tangent.
No, you did. You did. For people out there that are in similar positions as you, they are a caretaker, and they are, I know, my grandmother had Alzheimer's. I was young then, so I don't really remember it, but, my mom does, and she's still alive, and she talks about that all the time. It is not easy.
No, it is not easy, and each case is very different, right? I mean, I follow people who they just can't. It's just much more difficult for them than the situation I'm dealing with, and I can relate to that so much, because it has gotten much more difficult as his physicality wanes, and he's at risk for falling. If you saw the fall video,
See that was recent, right?
That was just like a week ago. 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago today, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from the wounds, but those can be devastating. I mean, a fall for a 91-year-old out in the street can be the end of the line, and that was an incredibly scary. Thank God, somehow in the way we intertwined in the fall, neither of us hit our heads. There were no broken bones. There was just a pulled muscle and a wrenched back and some cuts and bruises, but we got lucky. But that's the reality that I have every day, and that's going to make it a lot tougher than it was when I started. I can't just walk away anymore and leave him for an hour by himself, because he might get up, and if he walks outside or he could fall, I have to be much more tethered to him now, and it is difficult. It's going to get more difficult, but it is also rewarding. I mean, you can see, I try and post a lot of the rewarding videos, and, as difficult as it might be and redundant and, and as many blowups as I might have to deal with during a day, when I'm sitting out in my backyard and it's, 70 degrees at 6:30 on a warm Central Valley night, and it's just beautiful, and he starts talking, we can sit out there and talk for 15 minutes, like being, with my dad 20 years ago, literally. I mean, he's gone, but he's still there. The essence of him is still there, and his laugh and his mannerisms are still the same. So I get that same reassurance that I'm sitting here talking to my dad. And I mean, there are moments when Alzheimer's, when the dementia is just not relevant to our conversation. We're literally having conversations that, he's lucid enough, and I don't even realize he's has dementia. That can happen, and those moments make it worthwhile. And my dad just happens to be of the temperament. He's very grateful. He doesn't get angry. He's not accusatory. There are so many difficult qualities that people deal with that I don't have to deal with. So I'm incredibly lucky and blessed in that way. And there are many people that aren't, and I like I tell anybody, don't feel guilty if you can't do this, because there are many, reasons why it's not practical or even possible for some people to do this. So, you do the best you can. If you can do it and you can survive and you can keep your marriage and your family together, by all means do it. I think more people should. If it's something that's causing you don't want to sacrifice your life. When I mean your life, I mean you can take years off your life if you're not handling it properly, and you're just not, and there's just contention. It can be incredibly difficult. It's not a job you leave after 8 hours. You don't go in and deal with people and then leave. No, it's just beginning. When he goes to bed, that's the beginning of it. 2:00 in the morning, he's up and I'm up. And Dad, what are you doing? I'm trying to brush my teeth. Dad, it's 2 a.m. Go to bed.
Right.
Where am I?
Yeah, right. We've got.
I don't even know if he knows who I am, and I'm in there barking orders at him. Go to bed. Go to Dad. Go to bed. Please go to bed. And I'm not all patient at 2 a.m. When he's banging drawers in the bathroom, and his room is right next to mine, so that I can hear every time he gets up. So it is. It can be difficult, but again, it is. It's my dad. Right. I'm sure it wasn't difficult the first 3 weeks of my life for him. I'm sure I kept him up a night or two. I'm sure I kept him up a night or two when I was a teenager. So it's just life coming back at you. That's all it is.
Well, we've only got a couple minutes left. What's next, if we can kind of look ahead for the channel and for you guys?
Well, thank you for asking that. We are branching out a little bit. Danielle and I have been doing a little couples comedy, which has been going well. A little bit of sponsorship, and this is a channel for my writing. So you'll have a little more of my writing, some of my poetry, and maybe some really short, fun, things that I can put off in a video. So we're gonna have fun with this gift that my dad gave us. He gave us a gift that is, the dream of every, 17-year-old today,
Isn't it weird too? Because you come from a background in law, right?
Yeah. And
then to kind of make this transition, I'm sure you never saw this coming.
Well, my God, no. But it's the perfect segue, we can now come full circle. We started this talking about my heart attack, and that's when one of the changes to my lifestyle, I knew I was getting out of law. That was stressful.
Okay, tell everybody the best way to find you on YouTube and TikTok and all that good stuff.
Sure. DSAL NorCal, DSAL, DSAL NORCAL, DSAL NorCal on both TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I think on YouTube, I'm DSAL NorCal 1434.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. I mean, I'm not kidding. Dan gets millions of hits. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.